Welcome to Spicy Toast Gaming and our Taliyah guide for Path of Champions. If you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Let's get into it. Starting off with an overview of the champion, just so that you can know if this is someone you want to be investing your time as well as shards into unlocking, and just their overall playstyle. So first we have landmarks. Taliyah is the only Path of Champions deck that utilizes landmarks as a core part of their build, and so that gives her a very unique playstyle and a lot of different build opportunities that no one else really has. Next we have combo. So she is very combo based. In plane she actually feels quite a lot like Lux, where normally you're building up for a large mid-game combo to just end the game. Next we have high investment. So Taliyah somewhat struggles in the early game. She's much better once you have her at 3 stars, but the high investment is more towards her star powers. She's really not reliant on specific in-game powers or relics, or even on the champion itself, as we see in the next one, not champion reliant. So much like Lux again, you really don't need to be playing Taliyah every round. She can be very good for you when you do have the mana to play her, but quite often, the same round you could play her, you could often just win the game by not playing her and focusing on your landmarks instead. So you can actually go for a lot of the more passive relics and not even worry about having to play her every round. So if you're sick of playing these champions where you have to play the champion themselves and they're your entire win condition, Taliyah is definitely not that and can be a nice change of pace. Next we have no removal. So built into her kit, she has no way to remove enemy units other than just attacking. So that is a bit of a weakness for her. And lastly, we do have consistent. So with that combo playstyle, she can consistently win you games, no matter who you're going up against. Once you have her at those 3 stars and have a good game plan on her, you can consistently go into matches and be confident you're going to come out on top. Alright, that's it for the overview. Let's go take a look at Taliyah in game and further discuss some of the points we brought up here in this overview. Alright, in game now with Taliyah, we have her at level 23 and 3 stars. So she is a 5-cost champion, and then when you play her, she summons an exact copy of an allied landmark, and then she levels up when you've summoned 5 landmarks. When she levels up, she gets a new ability. When she attacks, she deals 2 to her blocker 3 times, and then if it's dead or gone, you'll deal 2 to the enemy nexus instead. So her champion spell is Stone Weaving, manifest a landmark you can afford, and then put a Taliyah in your deck. And then this is her ability. It summons 3 of these if you have her leveled up and she's attacking. So onto her star powers. So you have game start, summon a hibernating rock bear. That is your first star power. If you have it at rank 2, so your third star power is allies have 1/1 and overwhelm. This is very nice. Your hibernating rock bears, very strong, but if you don't have overwhelm on them, then you're really going to struggle to close out games because you're just going to get blocked by these weaker units and a lot of your damage isn't going to actually end up on the nexus. So being able to have all your units have that 1/1 and overwhelm, very nice. This is why she really needs her third star power. So for her 2-star, Recycled Stone, +1 starting mana. When an allied landmark is destroyed, grant allies +1. So destroyed is for these landmarks that have a countdown. When it's done its countdown, it is destroyed, and then it does what it's supposed to do. So in this case, countdown 3, summon a Grumpy Rock Bear, so that counts as being destroyed. So you're having landmarks on the board. When they're done with their timer, they're going to then grant all your other allies on the board that want to attack. And then all your allies also are having this flat increase to their stats and overwhelm. So it plays in pretty well together and can be fairly strong. If we take a look at the starting deck, so we get Ancient Preparations, play, predict, and then count down 2, summon a Clockling, and it has that draw 1, so you're able to predict and then immediately draw the card that you predicted, which is nice. And then the Clockling, not bad, but you're actually more using this for the predict and draw, and the landmark summon itself. The unit it summons isn't that great, so if you need to destroy a landmark, some of your cards want to destroy your own landmarks, this is one that's pretty good to do that on. We have Imagined Possibilities. This, you can play it either create a random landmark with countdown, or advance your landmarks 1 round with the Ardent Sensor, buffing your deck even more. Very good. So you can get a couple of these in hand and then trigger all your landmarks in a single round. So if you have some that are counting down, you can wait until it's your attack turn and then use a couple of these to get them summoned, buff up your units, and attack with them. Or you can use this to speed up the countdown if you need a blocker. Very good for Taliyah, it works out very well. Normally you want to be using it to advance your landmarks, but if you just have these and you weren't able to draw any landmarks, then you can definitely use that other part to create a landmark in hand. So we have Shape Stone. You're always going to get the better effect of this because you're going to start the game with a landmark because of the star power. So give an ally 2/1 this round, since you always have that landmark summoned. And then again, the hand sensor, further buffing up your deck. We have Clockwork Curator. Play, advance an allied landmark 2 rounds. You can't see it there, but it's 2. So Studded Leather, very good drop. This comes out on the board, it's very strong. And all of the cards you're seeing, if you have your 3 star powers, you just have to add the 1/1. So you're going to play this, there's actually be a 4/4 with Overwhelm, because your entire deck is getting that buffed. But yeah, nice way to speed up your landmarks, so you don't have to wait as long. We have the Hibernating Rock Bear. This card is very good, and what you want to be kind of focusing your whole deck around, because it has that symbol of strength. When I'm summoned or destroyed, grant your strongest ally 1/1. Very nice. But then it summons the Rock Bear. Very good card that you can get fairly easily. So you want to be playing a lot of these normally in your early game, so that when you're around 4 to 5 mana, you can get these all to activate and then end the game. We have Rockhopper. When I'm summoned, summon a Rolling Sands. The Rolling Sands right here. So this gets played on the board. When enemies is summoned, this gets destroyed to give it vulnerable. So again, another landmark being summoned and then destroyed, further buffing up your cards because of your star powers. We have Unraveled Earth. Summon 2 more of those Rolling Sands, just like the other one, and draw 1. And then it also manifests a card from your regions. So giving you more draw, more ways to generate cards, and then more landmarks that can get destroyed to further buff up your deck. We have Desert Naturalist. Play, destroy a landmark. If it's allied, summon a Grumpy Rock Bear. So you can use this to destroy enemy landmarks, but if you destroy one of your own, then you summon this Rock Bear. So normally you don't want to use that on your Hibernating Rock Bear. You normally want to use that on either your Ancient Preparations, or if you have one of the star powers that summons a different landmark, or you manifest the landmark you don't really care about. You can play one of those and then just use the Desert Naturalist to summon another Rock Bear. It can be very strong. And then we have Taliyah. So as you can see, most of her deck is pretty cheap. So you're going to be spending kind of your first couple rounds building up your board, especially your Rock Bears. And then right around the time you have 4 to 5 mana, you're going to be activating all of them, normally with your Imagined Possibilities, speeding them all up to activate, and then you're just going to attack with this whole board of large Overwhelm units and end the game. So it works out pretty well. Everything ties together. Very good for buffing up your units and then getting more cards. The one issue is that lack of removal. So it is something you normally want to try to rectify, either with getting something from a shop or a support champion, some way to take out enemy threats other than just attacking. So taking a look at relics, like I said before, Taliyah is someone that you don't really need to play her in order to win. So you don't really need to get those more active effects on her. So some of the common relics are quite good. So first we have Z Drive Prototype. Start adventures with 2+ rerolls. With Taliyah, there's a lot of powers that are just fine, but there's a couple that work very, very well. And so you really want to be trying to reroll to get some of those powers. Specifically, Trifarian Might. When you summon a 5 power ally or higher, it strikes an enemy. That works amazingly well in Taliyah. So this is pretty good to have. Also the Star Child Staff, Game Start Healer Nexus 5. This is good for 2 reasons. One, in that first round or two, you might just be playing landmarks, and so you have no blockers, so you might take a hit. So this is going to help sustain you. But then the second reason is that as Taliyah, you really want to be cutting a lot of the bonus cards you are getting, so either from your support champion or any cards you pick up along the way that you just have to choose one, but none of them really fit your game plan. So you want to be cutting cards to really have that consistent play style. So being able to always go to a healer and cut a card and not need to heal is another reason why the Star Child Staff is very good. So that's kind of it for the common cards. If you are wanting to play Taliyah, you might want to use the Troll King's Crown if you don't have her at 3 stars. Overwhelm is very important to the deck. And so if you don't have her at 3 stars, it's probably going to go on long enough that Taliyah is going to be on the board. And so Troll King's Crown can actually help you with that to make sure you're finishing the game. The Cardmaster's Gambit. If you win an encounter without taking any damage, earn 1 reroll. So getting more rerolls are very nice. You will have an issue in some of your earlier rounds where you might not have enough units that can block. But if you do get those extra rerolls, very nice. And then Ludin's Tempest is really the last one I want to touch on. So if you have a leveled up Taliyah, she summons 3 skills when she attacks that each deal 2 to the enemy or the enemy nexus. Ludin's will just make all of those deal 3 damage instead. So that can be very nice if you're wanting to focus more on Taliyah and making her be more powerful. Alright, so that's it for relics and the in-game portion. Let's go take a look at what powers you might want to use with Taliyah, as well as what support champions can help her in-game. Alright, taking a look at some powers. So with Taliyah, there's not too many that are really amazing with her. Doesn't need too many powers, but there's a couple that you really want to be trying for. The first one is Trifarian Might. When you summon a 5 power ally, it strikes the weakest enemy. With Taliyah, especially once you have her at 3 stars, almost all of your units are going to be over that 5 power threshold, and so they'll all be able to do this, and especially all the rock bears that you're summoning with your landmarks. It's great to be able to play those early, and then know that when you activate them or when they finish their countdown, they're just going to remove an enemy threat. This is amazing, especially if you can get multiples. Very good. Definitely always grab it on Taliyah if you see it. Next is Domination, Round Start Rally. With Taliyah, you are very focused on your units, so being able to attack every round with your big units, definitely very helpful. I'd say these are probably the 2 best powers for her, other than like legendaries and whatnot. So of the more common powers in the game, these are some of the best. Looking at this next group of powers now. So first we have Chilling Prophecy. Game start, summon a frozen thrall, set its countdown to 5. So this is kind of just a better version of your rock bear, which you're already summoning at the start of the game. So it's nice to just be able to start the game with 2 countdown landmarks that are both going to give you these large units during your mid-game. This is probably the best of the landmark powers. There's a couple different ones that all summon landmarks. They can be fine with Taliyah, but honestly, some of them just feel like clutter on your board. So this is probably the best of the landmark powers you'll see in game for Taliyah. Next we have Crush. Allies have Overwhelm. Now if you have a 3-star Taliyah, this is obviously useless to you, but if you don't have her at 3 stars yet, this is actually one of the best powers. Overwhelm is really needed for her, which is why they added it to her star powers. But if you don't have that yet, definitely try to get Overwhelm. It'll help you a lot to finish out those games. And lastly, we have Officer Backup. Game start, summon a Sting Officer. So I don't really like the other powers that summon units at the start of the round for Taliyah, because they both summon 2 units. And Taliyah, you often have a problem with your board getting too crowded, especially with all your landmarks that are counting down. So having a power that summons 2 units is pretty bad, but starting the game just with 1 extra unit, the Sting Officer, try to get some early damage in, and potentially an extra blocker can be very nice for you, but I wouldn't personally go with the other powers that summon more than 1 unit. But that's just personal preference. Definitely play around with that and let me know what you think. But that's it for some of the powers I wanted to touch on. Let's go take a look at what support champions you might want to get with Taliyah. Taliyah support champions. So as always, we don't just want to give you a list of support champions to go get. We want you to try to know why you want to get certain champions and what can really work well with her. So first we have landmarks. So she obviously is a landmarks deck. So having a support champion that also can benefit off of landmarks or destroying landmarks can be pretty good, since that's what your whole deck is built around. Next we have removal. So Taliyah doesn't have any removal in her kit, so getting a support champion that has some good removal spells is definitely beneficial. And then sustain. So Taliyah sometimes takes a couple hits in the early round, since you're playing your landmarks and you don't have too many blockers. So a support champion that can heal you up a little bit if needed is definitely nice to have. So for actual champions then, we have Lysandra. She is able to summon those frozen thralls that are more powerful than your rock bears. They do have a higher countdown, but they're definitely a very strong unit that you can add on your board. So that works pretty well with Taliyah. Also, we have Ezreal for the removal. He has a lot of spells in his kit, and so being able to use that to take out enemy threats can work quite well and really fill in the one main weakness that Taliyah has. And then lastly, we have Aurelion Sol. The 2 cards that he comes with is a lifesteal unit, and then the other card is a heal. Both of those can work out pretty well with Taliyah and just help you heal up every single round so that you don't have to worry about taking a couple hits in the early game. Alright, that's it for support champions. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching that video all the way to the end. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe. We're putting out multiple videos every single day for Path of Champions content. So if that interests you, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and welcome to the channel. Have a great day.